I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Ha Rakah Kodash, double honors unto our apostles and elders which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abba babal. Alright, so this is Exodus 15, verse 3. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, the Supreme God. Yahweh, which means he is. Alright? And then his son's name is Yahushai. Alright? He is the Messiah, the Savior of Israel, the King of Kings, and Lord of Lords. I'm going to read Exodus 15, 1, 2, and then 3, and then we'll go to a different location on the scripts. It says, Exodus 15, verse 1, Then sang Moses and the sons of Israel this song unto Yahweh, and spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahweh, for he had triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. Yahweh is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my power, and I will prepare him an habitation, my father's power, and I will exalt him. Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. Which they were singing this coming out of Israel was singing this song, which was given to Moses, coming out of Egypt, coming out of bondage. Alright, and the Lord destroyed Pharaoh and his army. And this is what we're going to be singing when we go up there into the chariot with the Lord. I believe it's in Malachi, Song of Moses. Oops. No, Revelation 15:3. It says, I'll just read 15, 1, 2, and 3. It says in verse 1, And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark. So this is salvation when we're going to be up in the chariot, looking down on America, being a lake of fire. We'll be looking through the ozone layer. Alright, and John will be there with us. Alright, and the victory comes through Yahushai over the beast, which he's a man, the so-called white man. Alright, pertaining to his elite, over his image, which is his system, and over his mark, which is the MOTB, the device they want to implant inside your body, the size of a grain of rice, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. Alright, and if you take that and you allow them to implant it in your body, it is an abomination. So the men that are singing this song, even the women and children, alright, that are going to be delivered, alright, we're going to be singing this song. Hopefully I am in that number, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua willing. Alright, and they're going to not take that device. Alright, they're going to remain pure. It says, and over the number of his name, which is 666, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, and the song of the Lamb, Yahushai, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, the supreme power, Almighty Yahweh. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Alright, so Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai is going to give us the victory over Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and his beast system. Alright, over his mark, the MOTB, the implantable micro CHIP, which they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. Alright, because we know the history. We know the history, so we know the mystery. Just like Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai delivered us out of Egypt, he's going to deliver us out of this Egypt, but in a more marvelous way. All right? And that's why in Malachi 4, he tells us how to prepare for this. All right? Verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, including 2/3 of the Israelites in America, shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness, Yahushai, arise with healing in his wings, which eventually we're going to be taken up into what you call so-called UFOs. And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. But right now, as we're on the earth in the flesh, we're getting fat on this oil, which is this knowledge, the gospel, the good news. It says, and ye shall tread down the wicked, because they're going to be under our feet, burning in that lake of fire. For they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet, which he did, Abba Bivens, Elder Abba Bivens, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahweh, which that day is coming, the nuclear destruction of America. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the sons, and the heart of the sons to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with the curse. Alright, so the men, the elect men, women and children that he's going to give salvation, they're going to sing the song of Moses, praising Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which is in Revelation 7. It says in verse 4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the sons of Israel. So this is dealing with the elect men. All right, we're singing this song on the highways, the byways. We're prophesying of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and we're sighing and crying of the abominations that are committed in the midst of Jerusalem. Jerusalem today are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. These are the Israelites. All right. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 9. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And palms is a sign of victory. So they got salvation. They got the victory, just like the elect. And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our power, Yahweh, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb, Yahushai. So we're going to be singing that praise, the same song that Moses sang unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai when Israel was being brought out of Egypt, out of bondage, ancient Egypt, all right, and the Lord drowned the enemy of Israel, which were the Egyptians, which today those are the people in South Sudan, all right, those are the real Egyptians, Mizraim, and when he drowned them in their army, all right, we sang praise to our Lord. All right, and so when we go into salvation, all right, when we're getting taken up into the chariot, we're going to be singing praise unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which he's putting that death on Esau, Edom, and the other nations, including 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which are rebellious. In America, he's going to drown them, but with fire. All right, he's going to burn their ass up from one end, from the west coast to the east coast, from Canada to the border of Mexico. From the border of Canada to the border of Mexico. The Lord's going to dissolve our enemies. All right? Was that Zechariah 14 and verse 12? It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth, because they're in a lake of fire. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahweh shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. All right? So the Lord is going to have this conflict be a worldwide thing. All right? But it's going to end with America being destroyed, which is World War III. Because you're going to have all the troops, Armageddon, all right, which is a mountain of troops in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is World War III. This is the third woe, and the Lord's going to burn them up. But at the same time, he's going to allow America to be destroyed by nuclear missiles and chariot fire. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see all these people perish, the wicked and them that do wickedly. That's why we're going to be singing, such a glorious song to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. All right? Now, just so you can understand, all right, the Lord, he tells us about himself in Psalm 78, verse, I'll start at 21. It says, "Therefore Yahweh heard this, and was wroth, so a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in God, which is Yahweh, our supreme power, and trusted not in his salvation," which our salvation comes through Yahushai. Though he had commanded the clouds from above, and opened the doors of heaven, and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and have given them of the corn of heaven, all right, which they were eating in the desert when they came out of Egypt. It said, "Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full," so they had enough to be full. And the meat, all right, that he actually sent, because they were tired of the bread, they wanted meat. He gave them so much meat, it came out of their ears, it came out of their nose. It says, "He caused the east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea." So when they were complaining and they wanted meat, he gave them so much meat it was coming out of their ears, It says, "And he let it fall in the midst of their camp round about their habitations, so they did eat, and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from their lusts, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and believed not for his wondrous works. Therefore their days did he consume in vanity, and their years in trouble," which that's why they had to stay in the wilderness for 40 years till that generation of unbelieving Israelites died off. It says, "When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and inquired early after Yahweh. And they remembered that Yahweh was their rock, and the high power their redeemer. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues. For their heart was not right with him, neither were they steadfast in his covenant. But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity, and destroyed them not. Yea, many a time turned he his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath," because he always kept a remnant. It says that in Isaiah 1, verse 9. It says in verse 9, "Except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. So the Lord had mercy on us and didn't destroy us all. All right? Because of the remnant, the hopeful elect. Now, verse 38, it says, But he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity, and destroyed them not. Many a time turned he his anger away, and did not stir up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passeth away, and cometh not again. How often did they provoke him in the wilderness, and grieved him in the desert? Yea, they turned back and tempted Yahweh, and limited the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from the enemy, which was Pharaoh and his army. How he had wrought his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zoan, and had turned their rivers into blood, and their floods that they could not drink. And he did that to the Egyptians. All right, this is what made Moses a god before Pharaoh. He sent diverse sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them. He gave also their increase unto the caterpillar, and their labor unto the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also to the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. Which this is happening in America. All right, because America is the modern day spiritual Egypt, and he's plaguing it just like he has done before. 2 Ezra 15 and 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. So the Lord's plaguing this land just like he plagued ancient Egypt. All right, but this land, he's going to destroy all of it. America, dealing with the USA, the United States of America. All right, he's going to allow 200 million nuclear missiles to devour America. All right, from the west coast to the east coast, to the border of Canada, to the border of Mexico. All right, and the reason he said as before is because this is what he's done. You know, the plagues that he's putting upon ancient Egypt is the same plagues that he's putting upon America. It says, he cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief and their strength, in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them unsafely by a so-called UFO, a chariot, so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies. So where the Israelites were able to go through on dry ground through the sea, all right, they actually drowned the enemies. So right now, what the enemies are planning to do to us, it's going to fall upon them. All right, that's Obadiah 15. It says, For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So it says here, verse 54, and he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, even to this mountain which his right hand has purchased. He cast out, and his right hand represents Yahushua. He cast out the heathen also before them, and divided them an inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High Yahweh, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. For they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their own graven images, which they carved idols out like the heathen. When Yahweh heard this, he was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel. So he was disgusted with Israel. So that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the enemy's hands, which he gave it back to the hand of Ham. All right, which is in 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 5. It says, and the Philistines took the ark of Yahweh, and brought it from Ebenezer unto Ashdod. When the Philistines took the ark of Yahweh, they brought it into the house of Dagon, and set it by Dagon, which is which was their idol. It was an idol of the heathen. All right. It says, verse 61, Psalm 78:61, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the enemy's hand. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given to marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. Then the Lord awaked as one out of sleep, and like a mighty man that shouteth by reason of wine. And he smote his enemies in the hinder parts, and put them to a perpetual reproach. So when the Lord, pretty much forgave Israel, he came swinging on the Philistines, just like he's going to do Esau. Yeah, he was mad at us. He put us in bondage because we sinned against him. But now that we're repenting, he's hearing us and he's forgiving us, starting through Yahushua. All right, Yahushua is the mediator of our faith. All right, he's the one that goes between us to Yahweh. And there's even angels, the Holy Spirit, that deals with, the men of the Lord, which Yahushua says that they bring the prayers of the saints, which are like a sweet fragrance, like a sweet incense. All right, so he's remembering us, and he's going to punish our enemies just like he's done. Even though he delivered, the ark into the hand of the enemy, look what he did. Right here, it says, I'll just read on through verse 3. It says in 1 Samuel 5 verse 3, and when they of Ashdod arose early on the morrow, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face. So their idol was knocked over to the earth before the ark of Yahweh. And they took Dagon and set him in his place again. And when they arose early on the morning, behold, Dagon was fallen upon his face to the ground before the ark of Yahweh. And the head of Dagon and both the palms of his hands were cut off upon the threshold. Only the stump of Dagon was left to him. There neither the priests of Dagon, nor any that come into Dagon's house tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod until this day. But the hand of Yahweh was heavy upon them of Ashdod, and destroyed them, and smote them with hemorrhages, even Ashdod and the coast thereof. And when the men of Ashdod saw that it was so, they said, the ark of Yahweh, the ark of the power of Israel, shall not abide with us, for his hand is sore upon us, and Dagon put and upon Dagon our God. Alright, so pretty much they gave the ark back. Right here in verse 8, it says, they sent therefore and gathered all the lords of the Philistines unto them, and said, what shall we do with the ark of the power of Israel? And they answered, let the ark of the power of Israel be carried about unto Gath. And they carried the ark of the power of Israel about thither. Alright, and pretty much they eventually gave it back. Alright, because they were fucked up. Alright, and that's what's going to happen here in Babylon. Our oppressors, just like in Egypt, he didn't want to let us go, the Egyptian Pharaoh. Alright, and the Lord is going to make them let us go. What is it? Exodus, I think it's right there. And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh. And you got to remember, Pharaoh thought he was a god. Alright, it says, thus saith the supreme power, Yahweh of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold the feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, who is the Yahweh, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not Yahweh, neither will I let Israel go. So it's just like when the Lord told Moses, he told him that pretty much the Pharaoh wouldn't let them go. It says in Exodus 3 verse 9, now therefore, behold, the cry of the sons of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto Yahweh, who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the sons of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve Yahweh upon this mountain. Alright? And then the Lord gave him his name, and then he pretty much told him that Pharaoh would not let him go. Right here, it says in verse 19, it says, and I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. All right, and that's what's about to happen. The Lord's about to punish the wicked Edomites, which are as Pharaoh in Babylon today. All right, in Egypt today. All right. And the Lord, he's awaking, as like a slumber, because it was like he was sleeping, but he doesn't sleep. All right. He doesn't sleep. It says that in Psalms 191, the Lord don't sleep. All right. He has no need of sleep. Let me see. I'll put it up in here. Will not slumber. Oh, 121. That's what it is. Psalms 121. Kala Yabashim Yeshai. Psalms 121. Right there, verse 4. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. All right. So it seems like the Lord forgot about us and that he's sleeping, to a point that even these heathen talk shit and say God is dead. They talk all this shit. They mock us. They scoff us. But all that's going to end when the Lord really turns up these plagues, which these plagues are already happening. All right. But it's going to come to a point where they're not going to be able to deny it no more. All right. It's going to be pretty much a horrible, horrible time in Babylon. Worse than any time before. Worse than Egypt. Worse than Babylon. Worse than any place that suffered the plagues of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. The judgment of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. America's going to suffer the worst. All right. So once again, all right, verse 65 and verse 78, Yahweh, it says, then the Lord awaked as one out of sleep. So this is just an example. And like a mighty man, remember, he's a man of war. And like a mighty man that shouteth by reason of wine, pretty much he wants wine, right, to refresh himself. And he smote his enemies in the hinder parts. And it says he put them to a perpetual reproach, which he put those Emorites on those Philistines. It says, moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. But now he's bringing us together, all right? And he built his sanctuary like high palaces, like the earth which he established forever. He chose David, also his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds, right? You had Saul, but then he replaced Saul with King David. From following the ewes, great with young, he brought him to feed Jacob, his people, and Israel, his inheritance. So he fed them according to the integrity of his heart. He guided them by the skillfulness of his hands. Which, let me get that Ezekiel 37, which shows you he's going to make us one in his hand. It says, verse 15, Ezekiel 37, verse 15, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah, and for the sons of Israel his companions, and take another stick, and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. So what he was doing in Psalms 78, when it said that he chose Judah for Israel, for the Messiah, Yahushai. Because King David, all right, Yahushai came out of the loins of King David as King Solomon. And then when he was reincarnated as the son of Joseph, as the Messiah, he was also known as the son of David because he was of the lineage of Judah. All right. So right there, verse 67, moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion, which he loved. So that's why, because he said Yahushua, the Messiah, was going to come through this lineage. All right, through Judah. All right, but I just read to you where we're together. All right, but there's order. It says right here, 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 36, and unto his son, talking about King Solomon, which became Yahushua, and unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. All right, that city is Israel, Jerusalem, the city of peace. It says in 1 Kings 11, verse 13, howbeit I will not render away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. See, so Jerusalem represents the northern kingdom, Judah represents the southern kingdom, which David was the king of both. You know, they weren't split until after King Solomon. All right, so we're going to go back to being one nation, and that nation being Israel, being the Israelites. All right. Let's see. Look, Ezekiel 37, verse 22. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, King David. And they shall be no more two nations, because after King Solomon they were split up. Israel was broken up in two nations, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. But he's going to bring us together, being gathered together unto Yahushua. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. See? So we're coming back together, and that's why Esau's afraid. He's seeing us stand upon our feet, and he knows, the elite. I'm talking about the Illuminati. All right, they know what happens when we come together and call upon Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Revelation 11, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them, which are the heathen. See, that great fear fell upon them that see us, that are gathering together. All right, just like great fear fell upon them in the past when they seen the miracles and the prophets. Okay, because there's miracles that are actually happening around us. All right. It says, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, which is going to be an actual voice that is heard in Hebrew. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, into a so-called UFO. And their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. So America, the United States of America, is going to fall by nuclear destruction from the west coast to the east coast, from Canada down to Mexico. All right, to the border, Really, America itself, the United States of America, is the one that's going to face this judgment. All right? Which all the armies of the nations will also be punished in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of decisions. All right? Yahweh's Mashapah, judgment. It says, and the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, which means everyone here left in America is going to die. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And see, that's what we're doing. Even when we're doing these videos, we're actually singing a song. Revelation 14, verse 3, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. So we're singing this song, the hopeful elect men, but soon there's going to be pretty much just like the book of Acts, when there's thousands and even millions of Israelites that are converted from the heathen customs to the way of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. All right? And we're going to teach them the praise of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. And what it say? Sing praises. That's a beautiful one there. Psalms 147 verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh, for it is good to sing praises unto our power, for it is pleasant and praise is comely. I was trying to think of the one where it says fetters of iron. Psalms 149 verse 8. Which I'm going to just read this and we'll wrap it up with this. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song, which we're doing, and his praise in the congregation of saints. See, so just like Yahweh, it seems like he's waking up, right? Well, it's just like us waking up. It says that we shall remember ourselves in our captivity. Maybe it's themselves. And that's why it was in the Apocrypha. It says in Baruch 2 verse 32, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. All right. Verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. And that's why we're singing this new song unto Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, because he's given us this new song to sing praises. All right. Once again, Psalms 149 verse 1. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song, which is this prophecy, and his praise in the congregation of saints in the camps. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the sons of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. And that's what the 1/3 is supposed to do. They're supposed to be dancing before us as we sing this song. It even says, why haven't, Matthew 11:17, and saying, we have piped unto you, talking about the Israelites that are prophets, they're piping this new song out on the highways unto you, the other Israelites, and ye have not danced. You haven't, there's no works of your faith. And ye have not danced. We have mourned unto you, and ye have not lamented. See, without works, your faith is dead. So you got Israelites that, they woke up to the truth, but they're just sitting there at home, secret disciples or whatever you want to call yourselves. But anyone that hides their talents is going to be left to die in the lake of fire. Because this is no time to be hiding your talents, whether you're male or female Israelite. All right, you got work to do. What did it say? Yahweh Shai said it. It said the harvest is ripe, but the labors are few. And the men are the prophets, but you got women that are supposed to be serving the men to make the work, go through more smoothly. All right, to help. It says, verse 3, let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. The meek means easily persuaded. All right? We shouldn't have to, really it shouldn't take Jacob's trouble for you to hear this and be converted and show your faith through your works. All right? But that's how stiff-necked and hard-headed Israel is, that the Lord has got to let Esau literally beat your fucking head in to get you motivated. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, including the Israelites that are rebellious. All right? That's one of the things that we have to be prepared for, is to punish the disobedience of our own people. It says, 2 Corinthians 10 verse 6, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. So there's going to come a day that the Lord is going to raise the standard for the elect men, and they're going to have spiritual power, and they're actually going to put Israelites that are not right to death. All right? And even the heathen. And this is before the nuclear destruction of America. All right? It says, verse 8, to bind their kings in chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, which we're going to literally arrest their people, their elite, the Illuminati that are hiding in bunkers outside of America. We're going to arrest them, and we're going to put them in slavery for the crimes that they've done against Israel. All right? It says, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. And that's a beautiful reason to praise Yahweh, that he's going to give us the power to pay back our enemy. And that's what's going to fulfill Revelation 13. I'll start at 9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So we patiently have to wait, even though we're suffering, and we have to remain faithful as we suffer and wait. And of the saints, which were sanctified through his word. The hearing of his word is what sanctifies us. This is Psalms 119, verse 9, which it says Beth, but it should be Ba'ath. It says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, by taking heed thereto according to thy word. All right, and this is what makes us clean. We are clean through his word by the grace of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, which is until he brings us into the new covenant, when we have new bodies, and we're immortal, and we're on that God status, and that pretty much we'll be perfect. We'll be co-inheritors with Yahweh Shai. And we're going to inherit the universe, the heavens and the earth, and them that dwell in there, including the heathen. The heathen will be ours, just like he promised King David and even King Solomon in Psalms 2. It says in verse 1, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Which they're imagining a vain thing, thinking that they're going to take us back into captivity again. It says in verse 8, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. See, verse 11. Serve Yahweh with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, so honor Yahweh Shai. If you don't honor the Son, you do not honor the Father. And you got to honor the apostleship, the apostles and elders, starting with Great Millstone, which rule Great Millstone well, because Yahweh Shai is the one that started the apostleship. He's the one that sent out the apostles to preach the gospel. So you got to honor the Son by honoring his men. And honoring his men honors the Son. Honor the Son by acknowledging Yahweh Shai, and you honor the Father. It says, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Hey, Kala Yahweh Shem Yahushai B'Shem HaRakakodash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders which rule Great Millstone well. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Wa Abba Babal.